Welcome to FPL Grind, where I will be helping you in making your dream fantasy league team. So, after that long international break, the Premier League is back, and so is FPL. So, we dive right into Game Week 5. So, let's start with players that we can buy for the upcoming game weeks. First up are Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker. Newcastle has a very good run of fixtures coming up next with Brentford, Sheffield, Burnley, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Wolves. So, Trippier might be a good pick for the team. As for Kyle Walker, he is the only regular defender that we are observing in Manchester City team, so he will be a good pick from the Manchester City defense. Also, City has some easy fixtures like West Ham United, Nottingham Forest, Wolves before Arsenal away. So he will be good for the next 3 game weeks at least. So coming up next we have Reece James from Chelsea, who will be returning from his injury, and Morris from Luton, because Reece James is a good wing back, so he can be an important addition to the team, and Morris has a double game week coming up in some game weeks from now, so he can be a good pick. Also, Luton has fixtures against Fulham, Wolves, and Everton, so Morris might give good returns. And finally, we have Anderson from Crystal Palace, who has fixtures with Aston Villa and Fulham before playing Manchester United in game week 7. So, Anderson might also be a good pick for the team, considering the fact that he's only £4.6 million. And in the end, we have Luis Diaz from Liverpool, who costs £7.7 million and will be important for the Liverpool team, given that there will be many squad rotations due to Champions League coming up. So after a look at the prospect players, let's take a look at the players you should avoid in the following game weeks. So first up we have Estupinian, who gave a lot of returns in the first few game weeks, but now his match is against Manchester United this week, and after that we have Villa, Liverpool and City in the next 4 game weeks. So this run of fixtures will be very difficult for Brighton, and it will be pretty difficult to keep a clean sheet, so I'd avoid Estupinian in the following game weeks. The same logic also applies to his teammate Mitoma, who plays well, but the fixtures that are coming up are not going to be very easy. In fact, it is going to be difficult to have assists or score a goal in these fixtures, so I'd avoid him. So after the Brighton boys, we have Malo Gusto from Chelsea, who still will have a lot of easy fixtures, including Bournemouth, Villa, Fulham and Burnley in the next 4 game weeks. But with Reece James returning from injury, he will be in rotation with James for sure, so he will not be getting the full minutes, so you should avoid him. So let's move forward with our Newcastle forward, Alexander Isak, who will be in rotation with Callum Wilson due to the Champions League fixtures coming up in the next few game weeks. So, no more 90 minutes. Then we have Jared Bowen from West Ham, who has his fixtures against City, Liverpool and Newcastle in the next 4 game weeks. So, you have to avoid him for sure. So, these were the tips for game week 5. Now let's jump into my team. So in goal I have Ederson against West Ham United, who have scored 9 goals in the last 4 matches, so it will be tough to get a clean sheet against West Ham, but let's see what happens. 21% of us have selected him. In defense I have Ben Chilwell, who has match against Bournemouth away and faces Aston Villa, Fulham and Burnley in the following game weeks, so a good run of fixtures, but I have selected Chilwell for his attacking returns because he plays as a winger, not for his clean sheets, because I don't believe in Chelsea getting clean sheets according to the mistakes they have made in the past few game weeks. So let's see if Ben Chilwell returns. Next up I have Udogi from Spurs, who has match against Sheffield United at home, which is like a very good fixture, and Udogi has been one of the best assets for the managers this season. He only cost 4.7 million and he has given 2 assists, 2 clean sheets, so he is a must have in the team right now. As my third defender I have Christian Romero from Spurs. Again, I am doubling up on Spurs because they have a good fixture against Sheffield United, and Romero has been giving a lot of returns lately, so I guess this will be a pretty good fixture for him as well. I think a clean sheet can be achieved against Sheffield, so I'm doubling up. Moving on to the midfield, we have Bukayo Saka, who has match against Everton, and then after that it's against Tottenham, and then Bournemouth, and then City. So in the next 4 game weeks, two are very tough matches against Arsenal and City, but Saka is the penalty taker and he is a big game player, as we have seen in the last match against Manchester United. So he is surely staying in the team. After Saka, we have Brian Mbeumo from Brentford. He is on an amazing streak of scoring goals. He has scored 4 goals in 4 matches. The next match is against Newcastle, which would be somewhat tough, but after that, Brentford have easy fixtures against Everton and Nottingham Forest. So, Brian Mbeumo is a must-have in your team. He takes penalties, plays all the 90 minutes of the match, and is scoring goals. So, he is an amazing player and a crucial part of the team. Just like Brian Mbeumo, another player is on a fiery hot streak of scoring goals and giving assists. He's none other than James Maddison from Spurs, who has match against Sheffield United, and it's a very good fixture, and he might be a good pick for captain as well this week, because unlike Erling Haaland, he is only owned by 28% of people, so he will be a good differential if you pick him as a captain this week. Next up, we have our English boy Raheem Sterling, who has match against Bournemouth, and after that Villa, Fulham and Burnley. He might not have scored last week, but then I am hoping he will score in the next 3 game weeks, so he might be a potentially good asset, and we already know how talented he is, so I'm still believing in him, and let's see what happens. Rounding up my midfield is Phil Foden, who has match against West Ham United, and surprisingly only 13.6% of people own him, because a lot of people don't want to invest in Pep Roulette, but I guess Foden will return in every match if he plays the whole 90 minutes, so he's a great FPL asset. Starting with the forwards, we have Erling Haaland against West Ham United again. So he played last match on steroids for sure, but it will be a little tough against West Ham United, who have been playing very good defensively. But then he's Erling Haaland, and who is anybody to stop him, right? So in the end, we have Avani from Nottingham Forest, who is also a very great player, and he has been giving returns in almost every game week. I guess every game week he has returned some points. He is only owned by a 5.3% of managers, which makes him a great differential for your team. So let's see what he does, and the match is against Burnley as well, so I'm expecting good returns from him. I benched Visa for Ebony because Visa has his match against Newcastle, and it is not very easy to score against Newcastle, but it is fairly easy to score against Burnley, so that's why I chose Ebony over Visa. So that is my playing team, and now coming up to leadership choices, I have made Haaland my captain, and I have this little urge to make Maddison my captain because it's a very enticing fixture, Let's see, I might change my captain to Maddison. If I do so, I will post it on my Instagram. If you have not followed me on Instagram, it's FPL_grind. Please go and follow it for the latest updates and information regarding FPL. Now let's take a look at my bench. I have Areola and Emerson from West Ham United, who have match against Manchester City, so it's quite obvious. Then I have Visa, who has match against Newcastle, and I have Dan Burn against Brentford, so let's see what happens. No transfers this week because I'm quite happy with my team, and I have a bank balance of about £2.1 million, so it's fairly easy if I want to upgrade anyone. So that's all, folks. Thanks for watching the video. If you found it helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Peace out.